Sorry, I'll have to start again and you'll have to bear with me because I just noticed that one of the clicks didn't take. Um, this is Monday, the 20th of September 2021, and in our series Reflections on the Holy Quran, this is broadcast number 255. And in this we are looking at the Holy Quran, chapter 2, verse 92, Al-Baqarah, verse 92, and we are considering the meanings of the words of this chapter of the Holy Quran. But before we do that, I want to remind you that these broadcasts are brought to you by the Lahore Ahmadiyya community, and that it was founded by Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Sahib, and that he taught us that although people want to bring another prophet after the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this is not possible because the Holy Quran says that the Holy Prophet was Khatamul Nabiyyin, seal of the prophets, and the Holy Prophet himself told us that it means La Nabi Abadi, the last prophet. So no prophet can now come, whether an old prophet or a new prophet. And he further stressed that although Muslims tend to call each other kafirs on the smallest excuse, the Holy Prophet Muhammad has said that if one reciter of the kalima says to another reciter of the kalima that you are a kafir, a heretic, then it is the person saying it who becomes a kafir or a heretic. Similarly, Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad explained that people believe that some of the prophetic revelation, such as Ayah Rajam, Surah Walayat, etc., have been missed out from the Holy Quran. This is untrue. No part of the prophetic revelation has been left out of the Holy Quran. And similarly, people believe that some verses of the Holy Quran are abrogated. Again, this is untrue. No prophetic revelation is missing from the Holy Quran, and no verse of the Holy Quran was or is or ever shall be abrogated. Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, he said that he was the Mujaddid, the reformer, promised by the Holy Prophet Muhammad, and that he has come to correct these errors in Muslim beliefs and Muslim customs and so on. And the thing that he stressed most was the concept of jihad. And he said jihad is a duty of every single Muslim. But jihad, as defined by the Holy Prophet Muhammad, not as made up by someone else. When returning from fighting, the Holy Prophet Muhammad said that from the minor jihad, Jihad-e-Asghar, they were returning to Jihad-e-Akbar, the greater jihad. And then he explained that the greater jihad is Jihad bin Nafs, a fight, a struggle against our own desires. Desires for wealth and beautiful women and children and God knows what else. That is a constant and continuous jihad. Jihad in the sense of fighting may or may not be required at certain times. Certainly if you are attacked with the sword, you reply with the sword. But that is not required all the time. What is required all the time, as Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Sahib stressed, is jihad bil nafs. That you fight your own desires and you control your own desires. And so you make sacrifices for others while bearing hardship yourself. So let us turn to the verse of the Holy Quran. I can find it. I got so many markers in here. Chapter 2, verse 92. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ولقد جاءكم موسى بالبينات ثم اتخذتم العجل من بعده وأنتم ظالمون. And Moses indeed came to you with clear arguments. And then you took the calf for a god in his absence. And you were wrongdoers. So today the two words we are going to look at is at-takhaztum and ajl. So let me go to my notes. I can find them. Right, the first word, it consists of two parts, two segments as they're called. One is, the last bit, tum, is a pronoun. And the first part, at-takhaz, is the verb. And this word has this root. The Holy Quran has used 7 words based on this root. That's not correct. Yes, it is 7 words actually. And in total, the root itself, or the words based on this root, occur in the Holy Quran 273 times. 127 times the verb akhaza, and 124 times the word at-takhaza, and 9 times the verb yu'akhizu, and then 6 times the word akhaz, or akhz rather. And then the others occur a few times. Those of you who can hear church bells, I'll just let you know that I live next to a church, and some days at this time they practice bell ringing. So, anyway, the word generally means to take, to seize, to bound, as in instead of, like creating a boundary for something like a pond or something. Seize something, and to take someone to task, to call to account, to punish, etc. So these are the different ways in which the Holy Quran uses this word. In fact, it is the opposite of to give. So to take as opposite to the give, ata. And as I said, to enclose something. That's the word I was looking for, or the phrase I was looking for. To enclose something. Like, as I said, a pond. You have a boundary and you have earth that is enclosing that water. A lot of experts and scholars, they say that this word, its use implies accountability and punishment. In Urdu we have the word muakhaza. Muakhaza means to be held to account, to explain something, to explain why you did something, to explain where did you get all this property and all this money, and so on. So this is why some scholars say that it actually means, to contain something. So to hold something. So it may be literal, like you're holding the water, and or it may be to hold to account. Sorry, someone has just asked me which verse of the Holy Quran I'm looking at, and I'm just sending him the reference. So, anyway, in fact, a prisoner, the word in Arabic for a prisoner is exactly the same, because he is contained by something. So let us now go to the Holy Quran and see how this word is used. So, in chapter 12, verse 79, the Holy Quran says, Ma'azallahi anna khuza illa man wajadna mata'ana indah. God protect us that we might arrest someone other than the person who has taken our possessions. And then we have the verse, La ta'khuzuhu sinatan wala nawm. Neither slumber nor sleep can overcome him. La ta'khuzuhu. So then the accountability, if you look at verse 11, chapter 11, verse 117, you have وَأَخَذَ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا الصَّيْحَةَ. And those who are unjust, they were grabbed. Grabbed in the sense of they were held accountable. Punishment grabbed them. فَأَخَذَهُ اللَّهُ نَكَالَ الْآخِرَةِ وَالْأُولَى. Chapter 79, verse 25. Then God held them in this world and in the hereafter, held them in His punishment. He punished them. In chapter 11, verse 120, chapter 11, verse 102, the Holy Quran says, وَكَذَلِكَ أَخْذُ رَبِّكَ إِذَا أَخَذَ الْقُرَى. And your Rabb, when He grabs them, when He holds them, those people who are disobedient, then this is how He treats them, and this is how He grabs them. And let us see if there is something else. أَأَنْتَ قُلْتَ لِلنَّاسِ اتَّخِذُونِي وَأُمِّيَ إِلَٰهَيْنِ. Chapter 5, verse 160. Did you tell the people that they should take you and your mother as gods besides Allah? So you can see that this word, if we recap, it's used in many similar ways to stop or arrest, as in Surah Yusuf, verse 78, or accept, as in chapter 3, and so on. And then God also talk about the way He grabs people. In Urdu they say, Khuda ki pakad. The way God then punishes you. The way that God holds you accountable for your deeds or misdeeds, etc. There are some people who are helpfully, thank you very much, sending me other verses of the Holy Quran. Unfortunately, because Arabic, Western Latin languages as they're called, and Arabic and Urdu and so on work in different ways, the verses don't clearly come out. But I can see that is akhazna misaqakum wa rafa'na fawqakum, and so on. God takes you, grabs hold of you, and so on. So let us now go to the next word of this verse that we're going to look at, and it's where are we? I'm doing 9 things at the same time. Ajla, and it's in a way it's very easy because its root is Ayn, Jim, and Lam, and the Holy Quran uses it in 10 different with 10 different meanings. It derives 10 different words from this root, and it occurs 47 times, and 19 times it occurs as Istajala, and 10 times as Ujl, and 5 times as Ajila, and 5 times as Ajjala. So you can see the difference between Ajila and Ajjala is that Jim is pronounced twice in the second word, and so on. So, and that means it should be familiar to people who speak Urdu, because the Urdu word ajlat comes from this, which means hurry, and the Quran uses it with the meaning hasten, hurry, impatient. For example, the Holy Quran says, La taharrik bihi lisanaka litajala bihi. And this is chapter 75, verse 16, to hasten, to hurry. Or chapter 7, verse 150, Min ba'di ajiltum. And were you impatient? So, and then obviously earlier on, verse 83, it's the same of the same chapter, Al-Baqarah, وَمَا أَعْجَلَكَ عَنْ قَوْمِكَ يَا مُوسَى. And he hurried you, made you hasten. تَسْتَعْجِلُونَ. Chapter 10, verse 51. Seeking to hurry, hasten something. And then 10 times, of course, it's used for the calf. The calf that the Israelites made when Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, Moses, had left them. You know the story, everyone knows the story, that Moses said that he was going away to get some instructions from God, and he promised that he was coming back, and Hazrat Musa alayhi salam was delayed. And the Israelites, they didn't wait. They made a calf, a golden calf, and they started to worship the calf. Hazrat Harun tried to stop them, but they wouldn't listen. So in 10 places it's used to mean the calf. خُلِقَ الْإِنسَانُ مِنْ عَجَلٍ. Haste. Man's nature is such that he is hasty. So, and speed, wanting something to happen quickly. As I said, the Holy Quran says, some people say, but generally the consensus is, I don't go in to people who disagree with the consensus, but the consensus is that man's nature is such that he is hasty. He cannot see the future. He wants everything, he wants it now, and so on and so forth. And in one dictionary I read a very good example. And the example that is given is that although man may know, he may be able to see that haste is going to cause him problems, difficulties. Actually, before I give the dictionary example, an example has come to my mind, and that is that you want to get somewhere quickly, and you break the speed limit. You go through a red set of traffic lights, and what happens? You don't notice the fact that there's a speed camera that photographs you speeding. You may get fined, you may get banned, depending on how fast you were going. But in a dictionary, I read a very good example of how people, in their hurry to have something now, fail to consider the consequences for the future. And the example that is given is this, that there are two farmers, and they sow a crop, and there is it's a dry season, and their crop is they don't get as good a crop as they want, but what they've had as a store is seed for planting the crop the next year, the next plantation. Now the both of them are suffering from, some lack of food. So one of them decides, well, I don't know whether I'm going to be alive for the next plantation or not, which is an argument that a lot of people use, I don't know if I'm going to live to see this, and so on. So what he does is he says, let's take the bags of seeds, let's make flour out of them, let's grind them, and let's have our parathas or chapatis or whatever it is, etc. And then what happens? For a few days or weeks or whatever, he enjoys the food. But then what happens? When the time comes to plant the next crop, he hasn't got any seed left. But the other farmer, who decided to undergo some hardship, some difficulty, then although rather than having, 2 chapatis, he has to survive on 1 chapati and so on, but when the time comes for the next plantation, he still has seed, and he plants that, and there is a crop, and that gives him enough to eat and to plant for the following year as well. The point I'm making is that the first farmer, he may have had it easy for a few months, but then he's going to have difficulties. He may have to borrow money to buy seed to plant and so on. And his difficulties will carry on year after year after year for many years. But the person who shows sabr, the person who shows patience by undergoing some difficulty, what he is doing is he is putting off hardship that he would have had to endure for a long period. And this is something that people always forget. So, and this is what the Holy Quran says, that the verse that I read out, that human beings were created. How were they created? They were created hasty. In their nature is haste. And because there is haste in their nature, what they do is they suffer. They suffer in the long run. And this is something that the Holy Quran says human beings should try and avoid. This is what Israelites did, wasn't it? Hazrat Musa alayhi salam had gone, he was delayed a little. So what? And because he is delayed, what do? They make this golden calf and they start singing and dancing around it and worshipping it and so on. They cannot wait for the Prophet to come back with God's commands on how they should live and how they should behave. I can see that our time is coming to an end. In fact, we've run over by a couple of minutes. So I'll take my leave of you with the prayer that whoever you are and wherever you may be, may Allah keep all of you safe and sound and free from harm. And I thank my friends who've been sending me more examples from the Holy Quran of the use of these words and commenting on the meaning of ajl, etc. It's great. I really appreciate your help and comments in this. With the prayer that whoever you are, whatever your religion, whatever your sect, whatever your country, your tribe, or creed or caste, may Allah keep the whole of humanity safe and sound and free from harm. Assalamu alaikum, Khuda Hafiz, and goodbye.